All right. Hello and welcome to Data Driven Sim Racing. It's the segments where I combine my two passions, data analysis and business intelligence and sim racing. And so what we do here is we take an app called SimRacing Telemetry, which is the website that you see in front of you, and we record our sim racing sessions. After that, we head into Power BI and we update our reports, or we create reports in some cases that showcase the telemetry that was gathered during our races or during our hot laps, whichever session we're doing. And we use the information to strategize and try to take some different approaches for future sessions. So here is the resulting data from our last Automobilista session. I actually had a session in Assetto Corsa Competizione yesterday, but a few days ago, I had a session in Automobilista where I took the McLaren MP412 down Daytona, and I had probably an average race. I don't know. I started from the very back, which is what we're going to do today. Again, we're going to do a last to first and hope we don't catch any penalties on the way. But this sort of data like fuel, race position, brake pressure, track temperature, and then we added some additional data such as tire temperature, brake temperature, average throttle, and G-force. And today we're just going to be collecting some more data. We're going to be at Laguna Seca with a Porsche GT1. It's like a mid to late 90s GT1 car from Porsche. And we'll be at Laguna Seca doing so. So to hop right in, what we're going to do is going to open SimRacing Telemetry. That's step one. We open SimRacing Telemetry, which you can download on Steam or on your mobile phone. We're going to click Automobilista 2, and we can see our prior sessions that we've had here, some at Brands Hatch and also at Daytona. And we're just going to hit record new session. And we'll start that up. And now we'll head into the game and give it a go. All right, let's put some gloves on. I will not have my camera today that records the steering wheel, unfortunately. That one's been glitching a little bit, so won't be able to use that. Got a bit more testing to do on that camera. But let's... Actually, I'm going to try to see if I can turn on some lights here. Otherwise, I can't. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Let me double check. It'll do. All right, let's hop in the game and see if we can start our session. Once we're done, we're going to take the data that comes out of our SimRacing Telemetry app and we'll refresh our report. We'll get some data on this particular race and see how we did and see what we can improve for next time. This is a 15-minute race. Hopefully it'll go overnight. I set the timer multiplier to be like 60 times. So it should give us an experience overnight and into the morning. We're starting at 1 p.m. it seems.
P5. Okay, Andreas. Nice and neat. Stay out of trouble.
Okay, I'm going to try to maybe pull over and hope I don't get a penalty. Will I get a penalty for doing so? There's the penalty. Ah, that's all right. It'll add to my data set. $15 seconds. Oh man, I just keep getting penalized here. That's not fun. I think that's all of them. Let's see if we can start coming back. Okay. I guess traffic is a thing. Oh, come on. Get ahead. Oh, God. It just keeps penalizing me even though it's their fault. guess I should warm up. And we are starting from the very, very back with a 15-second penalty, so that is something to note for my data collection. I'm going to try to see if I can work through the grid here, starting at P30. So I have quite a bit of work to do. Oh, and the race is already starting. That's great.
Green, green, green.
Alright, let's see if we can put some work in here.
On your left. Clear left. Right side. Clear right. Car
Alright,
right.
looks like we
Clear
got past some trucks, and that's good. The trucks are
Car
usually
right.
the ones that slow us
Clear
down.
right.
Just been given a drive-through.
Super. Thank you very much. A drive-through penalty for
On your
pulling
right.
over.
Still there. On your right. Clear right.
And how many laps do I have to complete that drive-through? 1. So I have to pull in.
You need to come in for this penalty in the next 3 laps.
Oh, 3 laps. Okay. I guess that's not
Alright,
terrible.
Andreas. Pit window open.
Left side. Clear left.
I'm gonna try to get as many laps as I can before I go in for this penalty lap, because at least I'll get fresh tires, and that should satisfy my standard pit requirement, which all cars in this race are required to pit at least once. So hopefully my drive-through penalty actually serves that. I'm not sure now. Hopefully I don't need to do like both. Maybe I should just start pulling over after the race starts instead of during the formation lap. How does that track limits? I'm not sure, but okay.
Come in to serve this penalty in the next 2 laps.
Thank you. I'll wait one more lap so I can pass as many folks as possible.
Clear right. Car right. Clear right.
Oh, passing into the corkscrew isn't dangerous at all. Let's wait our turn here. There we go.
On your left.
Oh, hi, I'm here.
Hold your line. Clear left.
We have some folks pitting already. So I will pit this lap. And just see if I can get ahead of some folks. Passing on the outside, it seems.
Clear left.
Or just not passing at all.
Clear left.
Oh, go away.
Come in at the end of this lap for your drive-through penalty.
Left side.
Will do.
Clear left. Right side. right.
And just as we're catching up to all of our GT1 opponents, we have to pit.
Car right.
Should be fourth in class
Still
now.
there.
Oh, what? What are you doing?
Still there. Clear right.
Well done, Andreas. Good pass. Nice front.
Well, sure, great pass, but then
Watch your
now I
speed
have
limit in the
a
pits.
penalty officer. Hopefully this isn't just a drive-through and then I have to pit again. Yep, that's exactly what this is. Super. Oh no. Alright, well, let's try to make the best of this.
Track temperature is falling. It's now 43 Celsius. There's a car approaching. Don't cross the white line. Watch your mirrors.
There you go.
10 minutes remaining. 10 minutes. You're catching the slower cars now.
On your right.
And of course I
Clear
can't
right.
pass here. So,
Left side. Clear left.
so no new tires. No refueling. Just a drive-through. And I'm back in fifth place.
Car left. Clear left.
The closest GT1 car is where? Like 40 seconds up? Oh no. Is that totally illegal? No, I didn't get a track limits warning, so that was
On your
completely
left.
legal.
Clear left.
That might be
looks like
outside track
it's
limits.
sunset. Oh my god, these two are all over the road.
On your
Inside it
left.
is.
Clear left.
Air temp's falling. It's now 32 Celsius.
Okay, so we have some air temperature decrease. We
Slower
should be
class
able to
car
note
ahead.
that in our data.
Right side.
Track temperature as
Clear
well.
right.
The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 38 Celsius.
There's our confirmation. Track temperature does decrease. So we should be able to see that.
Car left.
Hold
Hold your line.
my line, I'm on the outside.
Slower car ahead. It's their class leader. We're racing this car for position, so there'll be no blue flag.
Oh, they are not slowing down, are
Left
they?
side. Still there.
This is side by side through
Clear
the
left.
corkscrew, and they got me.
That's half distance. Fuel levels are fine.
On your right. Clear right.
That was my fault entirely.
Left side.
But this one wasn't.
Hold your line. Clear left.
Okay, so it is nighttime. Track temperatures are at their lowest. All the tire temperatures as
Air
well.
and track temps are decreasing. Air temperature's now 27. Track temperature's now
Still
35
decreasing.
Celsius.
And also just visibility in general is very tough.
Okay, Andreas, you're reeling. Giles in. The gap's now 12 seconds.
Interesting. 12-second gap. And there I go messing it up.
You've just gone out of track limits.
Thanks. Okay, so it's a 12-second
Coming up on a
physical
slower
gap,
class car.
but because of my penalty,
Car right.
we add 15 seconds to
Hold
that.
your line. Clear right.
GT1s are going in the pits. And you all are in my way. I would greatly appreciate it
On
if
your
you
left. Clear left.
departed
Car
the
left.
racing line.
Clear left.
Giles in front is pitting.
Okay, so does that mean I keep going? Yes, it does.
Lucas.
I don't know if I am.
That was a 122.48.
There's track limits.
Okay, Andreas, we've just cut the track.
That's a very confusing straight,
On your left,
considering you
clear
don't
left.
actually cut the limits. I think it's just if you cross the right line into the pit lane, they penalize you, which is a bit strange. And the truck just decided it wants
Car
to
left,
retire.
clear left.
That's 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes. There's a group of slower cars ahead. These guys are busy fighting each other. The gap to Giles behind is increasing. It's now 14 seconds. The lead car's pitting.
Lead
Sasaki
car's
is
pitting.
pitting from position 2. We think he'll come out just behind you.
Oh no.
Left side,
What is this truck doing?
clear left.
Sasaki is now in the lead.
Alright. So I'm currently in fourth.
Okay, Andreas.
Third.
There's a car exiting the pit.
Second.
Heads up. Me too.
First, but I think I still have to pit. So, definitely not for long.
The pit window closes in 2 minutes.
I think I'll get told to box. The question is, can I put a 15-second gap on the leader? Probably not.
Coming up on a slower class car.
Oh no, that
On your
gap was
left.
disappearing. That wasn't
Hold
a
your
good
line, clear
pass.
left.
Alright, let's let him go, and then we'll try again. That was an absolute
Alright.
dive bomb.
Clear right.
They did not pit,
The window closes in 1 minute.
so... Am I boxing?
You're in the lead. We're currently setting the pace. Your lap time was 122.66.
That's the question, I guess. Did our drive-thru penalty serve as a pit? I don't know what the rules and regulations on GT1 class say about that.
Car left, clear left. On your left, clear left.
It'd be very interesting if that was the case, but I'm not being told I need to pit. That's also grass. Oh, no. Oh no. We're losing
Coming up on
everything.
some slow cars. The class leaders in this group. Push, push, push. We're in a chance of winning this.
That's... No, we're totally not in the chance of winning it.
Pit window is closed. Just 2 minutes left. 2 minutes to go.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't have to pit. Things were going well. Kind of, maybe. But now they're absolutely not.
Right side, clear right. Left side, clear
Okay,
left.
so there's
There's a
two of
group of
mine
faster cars
opponents
behind you.
right
They're
there.
racing for position. Slower class car ahead.
There's a McLaren F1 right to our right.
Okay, Andreas. You've used half your fuel. P2.
And I'm diving.
Right side, clear right.
There's one of our opponents. I believe that person is
Left
the
side,
leader.
clear left.
Air temperature's
See
falling.
what we
It's
can
now
do.
25 Celsius.
Although everything we do, I think, will be for nothing, considering I have a 15-second penalty. Leave the
On your
space.
right,
What's going on?
clear right.
Nice move, mate.
Maybe not try to crash again.
On your right.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming
Clear
back.
right.
I guess I need to push a little bit harder. That was track limits. Or not.
Incident in turn 11. You're approaching a group of slower cars.
On your left.
Sure am, and that's
Hold
on
your
the
line.
outside.
Clear left.
Ah, we've been disqualified.
Clear left. On your left. Clear left.
So I didn't get told to pit. And then we get disqualified for not pitting. Here's a lesson, folks. GT1 rules apparently say if you do a drive-through penalty, that doesn't count as a pit. And we're gonna save that replay because we need it. But it's not letting us. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. Save replay. So I think the mistake was letting everyone pass before the race started during the formation lap. Next time, maybe don't do that. Is our lesson. Okay, so let's close up Automobilista and let's take a look at the data we've collected. Which it looks like quite a bit. So I'll stop this on SimRacing Telemetry, and now we have our Laguna Seca session. So using our Laguna Seca session, we're going to open it up here, and we'll see all of our lap times. We'll see when we pit. We'll see our fastest lap. And if you dive into any one of these laps, for example, if I want to take a look at what happened on the fastest lap, I can just click there, and the SimRacing Telemetry app has some native charts and graphs that you can actually dive through and see what your throttle position was for a particular point of the race. Right now we're looking at G-forces, velocity, RPM, throttle, brake, etc., steering. Then you can see at the track, you can see exactly how your lines were, where you applied throttle, where you applied brake. There's a full table of all of your stats as well, which is actually what we see on the PowerBI side. This is exactly what we see. And then there's some statistics as well. Velocity, G-force, throttle, and brake average 69.2, for example, for that particular lap. So that was lap 6. Let's leave this up because I'm hoping that I can get the same exact stat for lap 6, average throttle percentage. As you can see in my report, we have our brake and throttle section, average throttle by lap. If I refresh this, the data here should show 69.2% average throttle. So let's give that a shot and see. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open up PowerBI Desktop. While that's opening, we're going to go back to SimRacing Telemetry. And we're going to go back to the laps section, or really just opening up this session for Laguna Seca. We're going to click on the top right, and we'll see the export menu pops up, and we're going to say export to CSV. We're going to wait for that export to happen, and then it'll prompt us to ask us where we want to save it. And what we're going to do is we're going to steal one of the names. Again, I like to name my files very specifically with today's date, the game I was playing, the track, and the car. So we're going to say AMS2 for Automobilista 2. The track is not Brands Hatch. It is Laguna Seca. The car we were using was not a McLaren MP4. it was a Porsche 911 GT1. And today's date is the 30th. So we will save that. It says exported, session exported correctly, which is great. Now we're going to go take a look at our file. So our file is in the SimRacing Telemetry exports folder, which we created, and we can see it right here. AMS2, Laguna Seca, Porsche 911 GT1 with today's date. Now you can see a quick preview of the file, but my preferred application to open this in is Notepad++, because it lets you see the CSV file without actually damaging it. If you try to open it within Excel, you can do so, but you're risking the file getting corrupted by Excel. It's not a native file to Excel, so Excel trying to be helpful might actually corrupt your file. So I try not to open it in Excel. If you truly must open it in Excel, what I recommend doing is actually taking a copy of the file. So I'm going to hit Control-C and Control-V. That'll create a copy of the file. And I actually just usually rename that something like read or Excel, just indicating to myself that I really don't need to see anything with it. I don't really need to use it for my Power BI imports. I'm just going to use it for navigating through an Excel. So I'm going to right click on that file and I'm going to say open with Excel. Let me turn some music back on here. There we go. All right, and in Excel, if that's how you're used to seeing the data, you can actually see it within Excel itself. It'll divide everything into cells, and you'll be able to do some maths on it if you'd like to. I just use Excel to verify that the file is okay, but I don't actually like to open it with Excel. I find that it usually corrupts my data, and I don't want that. So we use Notepad++. All right. So now that I have my CSV file, what I'm going to do is go back to Power BI, and I'm going to open one of the prior reports that we made in a prior session. So I'm going to make sure it's one of the AMS2 sessions, and I believe the latest one that we made was 3 days ago with this McLaren MP412 at Daytona. So I'm going to open that up. And the neat part about reusing your reports is that you don't really have to worry too much about recreating everything. If I want to recreate, I'll do so. But right now, I just want to get the updated data from my latest session, put it in here, and check it out. So I'm not going to bother recreating anything. What I'm going to do is take this report and save it as a new report. So instead of SRT McLaren, I'm going to rename this to AMS2 like I should have. I'm going to say SRT for SimRacing Telemetry. Porsche 911 GT1. And remove the MP412, that's the McLaren. And here I'm going to say Laguna Seca. And hit save. And we're just going to wait for the title up here to change. Now we know we have completely saved off and preserved the last report, and we're not going to affect it with what we're about to do. And what we're about to do is take the newest CSV and replace the data set. Now, can one of the steps here be to simply add the data set to this report? Absolutely. The problem is all of the visuals that you see on this report, including these cards up here, all of the filters, the stuff on this page, that's directly tied to this data set that we see on the right. So if we simply add a data set to this report and we don't replace this one, we'll still have to kind of start from scratch. And we'll still have to recreate all of our visuals and use the proper data points. I can see here that when I click on any one of these visuals, it'll actually have a checkbox next to the very data set it comes from, and it'll even show us what fields or what attributes it's using for that data set, so we don't have to guess. Another way to do that is by simply clicking on the visual and then hovering over this particular value here on the x-axis. It's showing that the lap number is what we're using, and for brake pressure it's saying we're using brake. So that's another way to tell exactly what's being used. And since I don't want to bother recreating everything, I just want to see the stats of my latest session, what we're going to do is simply change the data set that's already built into this report, and naturally all of our visuals and all of our filters will change accordingly. So to do that, I'm going to find in the data tab, I'm going to find the data set we've been working with. I'm going to right click it and hit edit query. So we already have our new CSV file, and that's good. So what I want to do is change the source. So I'm going to go to the applied steps section and go click on the source. And we can see that the CSV file it's using is the McLaren at Daytona. We want to switch that. We can also see right here in the car ID and track ID, it has the McLaren MP4 at Daytona. We just raced the Porsche 911 GT1 at Laguna Seca, so we know this isn't correct. We're going to change it. There's two ways you can change it. You can either just edit the file name right here to be your new file, or you can also go here to source and click on this little gear icon for settings, and it'll also allow you to change the source here, or you can just hit browse and find the file. So we know exactly which file we want. It's not the read file because that one may have been corrupted. We want this one here. So we're going to copy the name, and then we're going to use that to replace it right here. Everything here needs to be replaced. The file's in the same directory, so I don't have to worry about that, but I'm going to hit Control V for paste. And then we're going to check a couple things, including our delimiter being tab. We want to make sure that our tab is the delimiter. That's what tells the system to check for a new column. So we're going to hit OK. And suddenly we can see that all of our data has changed. Now we have the Porsche 911 GT1 and we have it at Laguna Seca. So we know we're in the right file. Now, I also want to change the name so there's no confusion. You don't have to take this step. You can just name it something universal like session data if you want. But I like to name mine very specifically. So we're going to name this AMS2 Laguna Seca. And then instead of McLaren MP4, we're going to say Porsche GT1. Also change today's date to the 30th. And we'll hit enter. Everything changed, and we're going to, on the top left corner, hit close and apply. Now, once we do, the system's going to take a minute, and then everything you see should be changed to be representative of our current session, or the session we just did. All right, so first things first, on the very top, the vehicle and track have changed to the Porsche 911 at Laguna Seca. You can see there were 10 laps just like our session. We started in position 18 and we worked our way up to position 4, but then we got disqualified, so that doesn't even matter. The fuel, you can see that the fuel varied throughout the lap, or throughout the race. We started with 37 liters on lap 0, and we ended up with 17 liters by lap 9, and it stayed about the same for lap 10 as well. We can see how our race position changed throughout the lap, and we can see that right here we made the most progress from position 13 through position 4, and that was from lap 3, it seems. Yes, lap 3 to lap 7. But we, I think, had a bit of an incident somewhere around here, so that could have caused our positions to decline quite a bit. Then we also see the track temperature decrease over time. Now, here it is in Celsius, and for those who can't easily calculate Celsius or have issues relating it, we actually in a prior session built out a feature in this report that switches everything over to Fahrenheit and liters to gallons. And that's right here. I'm going to click on Imperial, and suddenly it'll change from temperature in Celsius to temperature in Fahrenheit, and fuels from liters to gallons. So we can see right around here is when nighttime hit, about halfway through the race, and then the temperature just stayed that way. I don't think the sun ever rose during our session, so that may explain why the temperature just dropped and stayed there. Now we have another page as well, which we did in a prior session, and that one has G-force, tire temperatures, throttle, and brake temperatures throughout the race. And something I wanted to check was on lap 6 or lap 5, I guess. Yeah, so here we have lap 0, but in SimRacing telemetry, one thing I wanted to check was lap 6. It was telling us that our stats were for throttle, average throttle was 69.2 lap 6. Now, I can already see that these stats that SimRacing telemetry have helped us catch an issue, and that is what it says is lap 6, we say is lap 5. So the actual lap is actually the lap you see plus 1. That's definitely something I need to change. So how do I change that? And the way I confirmed this was I see lap 5 says 69.23, lap 6 says 68.12. So I can actually verify that by going to lap 7. And if the stat says 69.12 for our average throttle, we know that it's lap equals lap plus 1. 68.1, 68.1. Absolutely, that's what's going on. So I need to change the lap number to be lap number plus 1. How do I do that? Well, we're going to find a column here that says lap time or lap number. It's right here. And what we're going to do is create a new column and call that lap number 2 or something like that. Maybe lap number true, lap number accurate. I don't know. You can name it Bob if you really wanted to, as long as you know what it does. So this column is going to be called lap number. I don't know. We'll name it lap number 2. That's probably not super perfect, but it will tell us exactly what we need. So here I'm going to add a set of comments. I'm going to say this lap number is the correct and true lap as indicated by SimRacing telemetry charts. And then the actual formula, I'm going to tab over a little bit, is going to be lap. This is just like Excel, by the way. You can treat this just like Excel. So you're going to say lap number plus 1. And now the trick is going to be that we need to replace all of our visuals. Wherever you see a lap number here, it needs to be replaced from lap number to actual lap. Oh, and here's this one. So did I use the correct value? It seems that on some of them I may have. Okay, let's compare our current lap number to our new lap number, which is lap number 2. So to do that, I'm going to click on this visual and I'm going to drag the lap number 2 right underneath it to see if I get the same value. Now, it looks ridiculous. There's no way I had lap number 5111. What I need to do is say right click on this and say do not summarize. And I think that'll tell us what we need. Yes. So we can see here that the actual lap number was lap 1 right here. It wasn't lap 0. So we're going to change every single visual to use lap number 2 instead of lap number to do that, we're going to redrag because it looks like I deleted the wrong one. We're going to redrag this one in, right click on it, say don't summarize, and then remove the old lap number and double click on this one and say lap number to rename it. And there we are. Now we have the true lap numbers. We're going to do this for all the visuals and then we'll deploy. And part of you is probably thinking, oh, well, can't you just do this by replacing the existing column with that formula? And the answer is unfortunately no. You can't just rename stuff and have it be correct. It won't take that way, unfortunately. So I'm just going to say, call this one lap as well, and then remove the old one. And now we have the true lap numbers. There we are. Same thing for this. I'm going to replace that lap with lap number 2, and then say lap. Brake pressure, same thing. Lap number 2, replace it, and say lap. Race position, which one is it using? I could just hover over and I can confirm that it's using the old one. So I'm going to replace it with our new one. Then we'll extend this guy here. I'm not really sure why it's shorter. So I believe we have everything on this page covered. We can verify it by clicking on each visual and simply seeing that this one is checked here. That one has lap 2, lap 2, lap 2. Okay, now we're not quite done. First, we need to go here and make sure that it is using it. This is the button selector that allows you to filter on different lap time or different laps. I need to switch that over to use our new lap as well. So I'm going to call this lap. And now we have everything accurate. Except we don't. If you watch one of my prior sessions where I actually made this logic, you'll remember that I actually have multiple visuals here. There's actually some visuals that are layered on top of each other and they're hidden. So when you have imperial selected, the gallons and Fahrenheit show up. But when you select metric, as I'm currently doing now, you'll see liters and Celsius show up. And we do that with a layering trick that hides the Fahrenheit and gallons and shows the liters and Celsius. So I need to make sure that I switch the lap number here as well in these visuals, which I'm about to do now. And we'll switch that to say lap. And same here, we'll switch it to say lap. And now, regardless of which one we choose, whether it's imperial or metric, we have everything correct. We have the correct lap time being represented. Okay, so next page, we're going to do the same thing and hopefully it'll be a lot quicker. I'm just going to go through the motions and here we go. We're going to rename this one to lap and switch it. We're also going to take this one here, rename it to lap and switch it. Luckily, PowerBI allows you to do this fairly quickly and easily, even though it is some manual work. And last one. Okay, so everything is switched over. Now, what we can see is lap 6 has an average throttle of 59.23. And when we go back to SimRacing Telemetry, actually, let's look at lap 7, 68.12. When we go back to SimRacing Telemetry, we can see that lap 7, 68.1 or 68.12. If we go back to lap 6, and go to stats, we can see the throttle average is 69.2. And when we go back to PowerBI, 69.23. If you really want to truly get it to match, all you really have to do, if you just want it to show one decimal place instead of 2, here I have throttle. So I'm just going to look for the throttle on the top right. I'm going to select that column. And you'll see up here where it says percentage, you can actually choose how many places. So if I want to switch this to 1, I can, and it'll actually be replaced in the entire data set. So you won't have to do this for each visual. You'll just be able to do it globally across the entire report. Okay, so there we are. One of the things I do want to try to explore and I haven't yet, is maximum velocity and minimum velocity, and also the lap times. This is definitely something I want to take a look at. Lap times is here, and I'll explore it in one of my future sessions. I think I just need to collect a little bit more data before I do so, but I'm going to try to replicate a couple of these graphs in Power BI. The advantage of doing it in Power BI versus doing it in SimRacing Telemetry, which is absolutely a great place to have your graphs, is in Power BI. You can look at it through things like your iPad, your phone, on a web browser, and even share it with folks on a website using Power BI embedded. So that's part of the reason that I really want to get this online, is because I want to be able to share it with other folks. And the only way to do that is using Power BI or Tableau or one of the many other reporting platforms. I'm just most familiar with Power BI, so that's why I'm using it. All right, so we're going to go back to our summary page. We're going to check everything looks okay, and we're going to save. And we will publish. I'm going to choose my workspace, but you can choose any workspace you'd like. I'm going to hit select, and it will publish the report. I should note that whatever you have displayed on the screen at the moment that you publish, that's what's going to be the default behavior of the report when someone opens it. Case in point, I'm going to go ahead and open it using that link. Here it is on my web browser, and you'll note that Imperial is the one that's selected by default. If I would have deployed it with metric selected by default, it would have deployed it there. Or if I would have deployed it with this page selected, it would have deployed with that page selected by default. So that is something to note here when you're deploying these. So here we are. We now have our report. It's live. It has the data from our latest session. We can use it to investigate our laps 6 and 7, for example, where we had some issues. We can use it to verify our brake and throttle throughout the lap. So here's the average throttle. We can see that that 69.2 held and the 68.1 held as well. Here's our brake temperatures throughout the laps. You can see that there's 2 brakes that just have way lower temperatures. Probably the 2 rears. Let's see, orange and purple. Is that 3 and 4? If I hover over, it should show. Oh, actually, if I look at the legend, it should show as well. So 2 and 3, orange and purple, are the rears, probably. It goes from 0 to 4, technically, or 1 to 4. So I would assume 0 is front left, 1 is front right, and then 2 is rear left. Purple is rear right. Our front brakes are working quite a bit harder, so I would say my assumption is correct. So much so that I'm going to go ahead and confidently change this label. I'm not going to change the columns because I'm still not 100% sure. I still need to talk to the folks at SimRacing Telemetry to verify this. But what I'm going to do is make it a little bit easier for the reader. And instead of brake temp 0, I'm just going to say brake temp and in parentheses FL for front left. Brake temp 1 is now going to be FR for front right. Brake temp 2 is going to be RL for rear left. And brake temp 3 is going to be RR for rear right. I'm going to also do that for tire temperatures, which I seem to already do in a prior report. FL, FR, RL, and RR. So that's a little bit easier to read for folks now. And I'm going to save that and republish our report. This time I'm going to publish with metric selected first. And you'll note that when I do refresh the report, it will now load with metric selected instead. Let's say that by default, I want it to load with metric. I need to get the report in Power BI Desktop showing exactly how I want it before I publish. So we're going to open it up. And we can see it loaded with metric selected already. And when we go to our new page, now we'll be able to see FL, FR, RL, and RR if I get my cursor out of the way. So that's pretty neat because you can change the labels without actually changing the data set. All right, so that was a quick tutorial on how to get updated session data. I had some fun in Automobilista. Unfortunately, I got disqualified because I tried to do a last to first challenge and it didn't come out the way I wanted. But I appreciate you joining. Hopefully you learned how to update your Power BI reports with the latest session data from Automobilista or any other game that tracks your telemetry. Again, you can go to simracingtelemetry.com to get more information about the app itself and all of the different games it supports. The ones I've purchased myself are F123, Assetto Corsa Competizione, F1 2020 I thought I had, and Automobilista. That's all I've done. I thought I had Assetto Corsa itself, but note that you can also just do this as a trial. If you want to try this out and see if it works for you, you can always just get a trial before you buy with them. That's what I did a long time ago, and I liked it so much that I purchased it. And also just know that you can do this on your phone. With Power BI, it is 100% free as long as you don't try to share reports with other folks. The only time you have to pay for Power BI is when you need to share, and that's when you need like an office license and all that stuff. But Power BI Desktop is free for anyone. So if all you're trying to do is analyze your own sim racing data and see if it works for you, see if you can strategize a little bit better, you can feel free to do that. Just go to powerbi.com and download Power BI Desktop, and you can do every single thing that I've been doing here. All right. Thanks for joining me, folks. I hope you have a great new year, and I'll see you next time.